What if I told you that the AI revolution you've been hearing about, well, it's already over. A brand new shift just happened. And this isn't some far off future prediction. This is about right now. And I mean everything. The back end, the front end, the database, even the deployment. All of it, just boom, built from a single sentence. Think about that. No more teams, no meetings, no junior devs. It's just you and your idea. I mean, can you imagine the sheer speed of that? All the usual friction that comes with development, the endless back and forth, the debugging cycles, all of it just compressed into a single moment of creation. It honestly sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. But that's the thing. It's not science fiction anymore. This is reality. As of early 2026, the new models from places like OpenAI and Anthropic can actually do this. And here's the part that should really get your attention. Coding is just the beginning. Okay, let's really get into this, because what we're talking about here, it requires a total reset of how we think about AI. This isn't just a clever chatbot, it's not an assistant, it's becoming, well, a cognitive substitute. See, we all had this comfortable idea that AI would just be our helpful little assistant, right? It'd handle the grunt work, the boring stuff. But that's not what's happening at all. It's going straight for the high-leverage roles, the thinking, the reasoning, the high-value tasks that define entire professions. And here is the huge disconnect. This is the critical point. Most of the world is still playing around with the free, public-facing AI tools, which are basically, the 2023 models. But behind the curtain, the cutting edge has already jumped light years ahead. We're talking about a completely different species of technology. So what happened? What was the fundamental shift that really triggered this exponential acceleration we're seeing? Well, it all comes down to one core difference in capability. What's so wild about this is the jump from just being a reactive tool to a proactive agent. The old AI, it just followed your instructions. But the new AI, it reasons. It plans multiple steps ahead. It finds and fixes its own mistakes. And, this is the real game changer, it improves its own code. And that is the inflection point. The second a machine can build a better version of itself, the entire game changes. The curve doesn't just bend anymore, it goes vertical. So if you're still thinking of AI as just a slightly better search engine, I'm sorry to say it, but you're already being left behind. Okay, so what does this actually mean for us, for you? Let's talk about a bit of an uncomfortable but honestly a necessary truth. Because in a shift this massive, there are always winners and there are always losers. The people who are going to have the hardest time in the next few years aren't defined by their job title, but by their mindset. It's the people who just passively consume, those who only want to use free tools, the ones who don't experiment, and maybe most of all, those who are still holding on to that belief that, oh, AI won't replace my job. And this quote just perfectly illustrates the real dynamic here. The technology itself isn't the real threat. The threat is the person who learns how to use it to produce 10 times the output, which makes them 10 times more valuable than you in the marketplace. But now for the good news, okay? We are not powerless in this situation, not at all. But our strategy has to change. It has to pivot away from the things that can be automated and toward the things that are still uniquely human. This slide right here lays out the new battlefield. On one side, AI is absolutely mastering cognitive work and data analysis. But on the other side, it still can't replicate true adaptability, or the nuance of human relationships, or that slow, hard-earned process of building trust. Technology moves incredibly fast, but trust still moves slow. So, this new reality, it demands that we stop thinking like workers who are just trying to protect a job and start thinking like builders who are focused on creating new value. Just look at the shift in these questions. It's a move from playing defense to playing offense. Instead of asking, how do I protect what I have? You should be asking, how do I multiply what I can do? And instead of looking for what's free, you've got to be looking for what gives you leverage. And this is a mental switch that we all really need to make. That monthly subscription for a cutting-edge AI model, that's not an expense. It's not like your streaming service bill. It's an investment. If you spend, say, $20 on a tool that helps you generate $500 of value, well, that's not a cost. That's leverage. That's probably the smartest money you can spend. Okay, theory is great, but action is always better. So if you're serious about this, here's a simple plan. First, explore. Get your hands on the powerful paid models and give them a genuinely complex task. Your whole goal is just to see what's actually possible. Second, integrate. Find one tedious, repetitive part of your job and automate it. Start using AI for collaboration, not just for answers. And third, build. Create something, anything. With AI as your co-founder, ship it, make it real. Now let's fast forward just a little bit to 2026. And remember, this is not some distant future. Let's look at two people who took two very different paths based on the mindsets we've just been talking about. So on one side, you've got person A, the worker, still doing things the old way, completely focused on defending their turf. And on the other side, you have person B, the builder, who is now managing a whole team of AI agents that are creating value around the clock. Who wins here? Well, the future doesn't belong to the smartest. It's going to belong to the most adaptive.
Look, you can fear this change, you can try to ignore it, but in a world that's accelerating this quickly, just standing still is the riskiest move you can possibly make. The only guaranteed way to fall behind is to do absolutely nothing at all. And I really need you to understand this. I am not exaggerating. The learning curve for this is steep, which means the advantage for starting right now is absolutely massive. What you decide to do in the next 30 days, the tools you test, the mindset you adopt, could literally define the success or struggle of your next decade. So ultimately, it all comes down to this one choice. AI is here. It's not asking for permission. You can be a spectator on the sidelines, just watching as the world is completely reshaped around you. Or you can step onto the field and become one of the builders. The choice is yours.